Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm bringing you 7 crafts using Dollar Tree materials, which are perfect for spring decor. And if you enjoy these videos and you enjoy these types of crafts, please be sure to hit that subscribe button because once you hit subscribe, we instantly become best friends. And please click that notification bell so you know every time I post a video. If you don't have these materials on hand, please do not go out trying to look for them. Please just wait till a later date to recreate them or get creative and use what you have at home. Let's go ahead and get started. For the first craft, I'm going to use this mini Dollar Tree pillow. Now, I'm not going to use my seam ripper for this. I'm honestly just going to cut off the tags and cut off right here as close as possible. I'm going to be covering this up with some bunny ears, so it really doesn't matter. Now for the middle, I found these buttons at Dollar Tree, and I'm just figuring out which one I like best. You can sew yours in place or use fabric fuse, but I'm just using handy dandy hot glue and pushing it in place. Now for the top, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of the Dollar Tree little bunny ears and I'm just going to cut that down. So there is a plastic piece in this, so you want to be really careful when you cut this and you're going to need some really good scissors. When I got to the headband, I realized you can't slide it out, so I just cut it down and then cut down the rest of my fabric, glued the edges down a bit to make it look a little neater, and then once I had just the little bunny ears and a little piece of the bottom, I hot glued that to where the tag used to be. Now again, you can use whatever you want to attach this. This does have a plastic piece, so it will stay upright. Just make sure that you press it in while it's drying. Now to add a little bit more detail, I just made a tiny bow using some ribbon that I had, hot glued it in place, and I had a really cute bunny pillow. For my next craft, I'm going to be using this Tic Tac Toe game from Dollar Tree. Now you can use it as is, but I wanted to paint it white, so my husband did me the favor of spray painting this. Obviously, you guys know I was on lockdown, so I couldn't do it. He just used a regular white spray paint, I believe from Krylon. And with a pencil, I just drew a new set of eyes and did some cute little eyelashes. You can use a Sharpie if you want. I just always start off with a pencil in case I don't like it. So once I have my eyes and my eyelashes with a shade of pink, I'm going to go ahead and do the ears and the nose. Now you can use whatever shade of pink you have. This is just the one that I used. For the middle, I'm going to use these moss sheets from Dollar Tree. Now I'm just going to measure this out, and with my finger, I'm just going to mark where I want to cut down, and since this is a grid, you can cut a straight line pretty easily. If you don't have moss sheets, you can of course use the loose moss and just hot glue it into place until you cover the middle, or you can use something like construction paper, craft paper, whatever you want to cover up that little middle, or don't cover it at all. So now I'm going to take some hot glue and just hot glue this into place. Not adding too much, just enough to where it stays right there. And with the letters that were also painted white, I'm just spelling out XOXO for hugs and kisses, and then lightly hot gluing that into place. This next craft is more of a transformation. I found this at Dollar Tree, and even though I really love the font, I really hate that it's faded. So I'm just going to grab some white acrylic paint. If you have multi-surface paint or paint meant for outdoors, that would be a lot better. And with a brush that is nice and flat, I'm going to go ahead and outline the word blessed. Now I'm using a flat brush so I can get nice crisp lines. This is a great craft for somebody who doesn't have a Cricut or a Silhouette and wants a custom doormat. These are super cheap and leave a lot of room for error. So now with 2 shades of green, I'm just going to create the grass. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create little strokes at the bottom, going in with the darker color first, making sure that it dries really well and doing another coat. And then once that's dry, I'm going to go in with the lighter color. The lighter color is just meant to give it some highlight and definition, and now I'm going to attempt to draw a tulip, and I did this by drawing a U shape with the ends tapered outwards, and then I'm going to fill that in and draw a little triangle on the inside. So there are plenty of tutorials on how to draw tulips. I'm just going to fill it in, and then with a lighter color, which in this case I used white, I'm going to outline the inside. So as you can see here, I'm outlining the outside and then those little separations of the petals. So you're just going to create kind of like an X shape. But like I said, you can always Google how to draw a tulip, and it's really, really simple. So I created a few of these tulips in different colors. I added the little stems to the bottom, and then at the top with some regular white acrylic paint, which is what I use for the blessed, I wrote #beyond. Now I tried to use the lines on the mat, and that ended up a little bit on the crooked side, so I would highly recommend measuring this out before actually freehanding if you are going to write beyond blessed. But this is what it turned out looking like. You can add some little flowers in that little piece right there. For the backing of this, I used these Dollar Tree placemats and I lined them up. This is a really narrow doormat, so it's up to you if you want to create a backing for it or not. You can use whatever you have around the house, but I thought that this made a good contrast. So once I was done, I had a really cool and unique doormat. For this next craft, I'm using these jumbo popsicle sticks. I zoomed in so you can see the size, and if you want something sturdier, you can use stir sticks. They give them out for free at Walmart, or you can buy them for 97 cents at Lowe's, but please don't go out and buy them now as we are stuck at home. You can use whatever you want to determine how long and wide you want these sticks. I'm using a crate because this is actually a recycled craft. I made these little doors as part of my crate video, so I am making them as wide and as long as the crates. I'm only doing 2 widthwise and the rest are lengthwise. You'll see them in just a second. I'm cutting this down using regular scissors and then just grabbing a sanding sponge and making sure that the edges are nice and smooth. But you can of course use a saw if you're using better wood for this. If you are using this for real plants, I highly recommend using the stir sticks or some other cut of wood. So now I'm assembling, so I am just going to start putting them together like a little crate. So the 2 vertical pieces on the side and then the other pieces going upward. And this is what it looks like. This is what I used for my little door. And now for the corner, I'm using this little Dollar Tree stencil and I'm just writing 0.01, 0.02 just to give it a farmhouse look. Now that my little doors are done, I'm going to use these games from Dollar Tree. I saw these basketball games and I automatically knew what I wanted to use them for because this little thing is actually pretty sturdy. So I am going to unscrew the back. Now, if you're using real thick wood, of course you can use the screws, but because we're using thin popsicle sticks, I'm just going to save the tiny screws for another project. So this is what you're left with, and you're actually able to remove the little middle piece. When you are placing it on your crate, you want to make sure that when you add the little hoop to it, that you are adding it to the part where it supports it going so where it doesn't fall forward. So you don't want to add it like this because then your plant will fall. You want to add it the other way to where it actually supports it. So just make sure that you're paying attention to that. If you have a little number on the side, just so it doesn't look backwards. Now I'm going to use a combination of hot glue and E6000, and I will leave the link below to my little color key. I use that with E6000 so that I don't waste it as much. You just push it a little bit and then you stop, and it helps get all the E6000 out. So I'm adding a little bit of E6000 to the high points and then filling in the rest with hot glue so that it instantly holds. So I eyeballed the center of this, but of course you can measure that out, and then I let it dry really well, and this is what it should look like. Dollar Tree sells these planters in a pack of 3, and I believe they come in green as well, but you can spray paint them if you don't like the color. I like that it has that little lip, so it fits perfectly, and I really don't have to worry about it kind of falling out of place. Now, like I said, if you're using this for a really heavy plant, then I highly recommend using some better wood, not popsicle sticks, but I'm going to be using this for faux plant. To hang it up, I honestly just use the spacings that were in between with a nail, but of course you can use the little hooks that come on the Dollar Tree picture frames and just glue them to the back. Then when you're done, you have a really cool way of displaying your plants, faux plants, or herbs. So you know that I don't like to be wasteful at all, so the balls that came with these basketball games, I actually decided to turn them into something more than what they are. So I'm going to take these skewers, and on the side they have a really soft circle which you can puncture really easily, and I'm just going to skewer these balls. I actually bought 6 of these games because I made 6 in total of the little planters, which I didn't show. And with a combination of colors, I'm going to try and transform this into a peach. These are the shades that I'm using, but you can use any yellow, any peach, and any darker color peach. Now I used a makeup sponge to pounce on the lighter peach color, but of course you can start the other way around and start with the darker color and then add the lighter one on top. And I'm using the fold that already comes on the ball to make the fold on the peach. Before I do that, I'm going to take my darker color and pounce that on top to create some more texture. And then I'm going to take my yellow and just do that on top as well while everything is still wet so that the colors blend a little bit, but there's still some distinction between all of them. Now this is going to look a little funky, but I promise you that it will come together. With the edge of my makeup sponge, I'm taking the darker color and outlining that fold, and then to really define it, I'm going to take the skewer that I used earlier and draw a line just so it looks a little tiny bit darker in the middle. So there's the diffused line because of your makeup sponge, and then the deeper line because of your skewer. This is what it looks like, and we're going to let this dry completely, and once it is dry, we are going to add the stem. On the sides of the balls, there's already 2 holes that we created because of the skewer, but that's not where the stem is going to go. So to create the little hole for the stem, I used a little hook that I had, and for the stem itself, I used some leftover greenery that I had from a bouquet of flowers from Dollar Tree and stuck that in there. Now, one of your options to display this is to put this in a kitchen scale. This is the exact same scale that I created way back in the day. I'll leave the link to both of these videos below. The only thing is that I added a thermostat to the middle instead of a printout. So now I'm just going to add my peaches to the top. So this is the easiest way to display it. I'm not even counting this as a craft, but I will link the scale videos below. Another adorable way to display this is to use the garland from Dollar Tree. This one has a ton of wire in it, so you can shape it however you want. And it also has green wire that's holding it together. So I'm actually going to save that and use that to attach my peaches. Now that I've extended my garland, I'm just going to go ahead and start adding my peaches wherever I want on this. Since it does have the stem, I'm just going to take the little green wire and wrap that around the stem in case I want to remove these peaches later on and use them for something else. I really don't have a ton of these balls, so I like the option of reusing them. And if you don't have enough of this, you can also use wire that comes in those little sandwich bags, or if you have wire from Dollar Tree. It's all up to you and what you have, just make it work. And when you're done, you have a really cool and very unique garland. Another decor option is just using this home sign from Dollar Tree and grabbing one of your peaches and just hot gluing it right where the O is. This is the simplest craft on here. You can of course paint the home sign a different color to match your home decor. I kept it as is because I really love the contrast of the blue and the peach color. You can pop this onto your entryway or on a sign, and I think this looks really cool and unique. The next option is creating a wreath with this. Now I'm going to take this wreath that I created using Dollar Tree materials, and I'm just going to remove the roses. I'll link the original video below because this is probably one of the cheapest wreaths that I created on this channel. And this was all inspired by this ear peach sign from Dollar Tree. That's why I made these peaches and not oranges. So I am actually just going to twist tie that right there. So that is the center of my wreath. And then for this one, I am hot gluing this into place because I didn't want them to awkwardly hang. So I'm hot gluing some by the stem and some by the actual base. Now I thought that just with peaches this looked a little funky, so I decided to create a little ribbon up top. So I cut down 2 pieces of ribbon, and then I'm going to fold it in the middle like this. I'm going to do the same thing to my other piece of ribbon, but instead of doing one on top of another, I'm going to do side by side so that they kind of like puff out like this. Then I'm going to cover the middle with another piece of ribbon that's folded, and then I'm going to cut another piece of ribbon, hot glue it to the back, and just make it a little neater by cutting the ends. Now, if you want a really good bow tutorial, I highly recommend going over to Olivia's Romantic Home. She makes the best bows and wreaths. I'm not the best at them, so she's the expert. Now, this is what it looks like, and I am absolutely in love with all the peach decor. So that is it for me. I really hope that you enjoyed these tutorials. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite or which one you'll try and recreate. And I appreciate you so much for your patience with these crafts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you on the next one.